the one I can never say, the
Capicola.
Okay, Capicola.
Gabagoo. All right. Well, great chat. Hello and welcome to the Nick's Boots from Start to Finish podcast. I'm your host, Shuyler Mao, joined here by Rebecca Burnham and Kelsey Lursback. Thank you for joining me, guys.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to be here, so
Yeah.
you know. But thanks for making the trip.
Once a week.
So this episode, Kelsey put this together. We're talking about lead times. Is that right?
Yes, somebody submitted a request for an honest conversation about like what dictates lead times and why things get pushed and pulled and why someone's order goes in before another's and that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty nuanced system, so.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and it's pretty much all manual. So
that's true.
Yep.
Sort of.
there is room for error.
Yeah, Becca, why don't you walk us through the process?
Yeah. It's interestingly timed because we just updated our lead time page, which I've been seeing some comments here and there on Reddit and other places. A little bit of mixed feedback about the update. So part of the reason we made the change, so what we've done is we have removed the section on the lead time page that tells you what order dates are entering production for each category of lead time, essentially. Part of the reason we did that is because we've been having more delays from tanneries, various quality issues with leathers that mean we can't issue a certain leather to production. So we have to skip over any order that has that leather, which means by default, we're issuing newer orders in leathers that we have available. So if that happens with one or two leathers, it's not too terribly difficult to update the affected customers and then just post normal lead times. If it happens with like 5 or 6 leathers, that gets far more complicated. It's also been impacting our core leathers, so things like quick ship. It's also harder to give people this is the date range of quick ship that's going into production without a laundry list of qualifiers.
Yep.
So basically the way it's determined is I will pull a report that gives me every open order that is finalized, ready to go into production, and then we schedule them oldest to newest in the leathers we have in stock. We have a certain allocation for quick ship versus standard lead time orders. We work in, dealers and other things. So we have a preset ratio of what will go into production that we've calculated to meet our estimated lead times. And then we just schedule oldest to newest with the available leather.
Yeah, it's tough right now with all the leathers being out, is essentially what's driving this. Yeah, I mean, my father-in-law was once asked, so he's got 5 kids, which one of his children are his favorite. And he said, there's a wheel, and the wheel is always turning. And sometimes you're at the top of the wheel, sometimes you're at the bottom. And I feel the same way about our tanneries. Sometimes you're at the top, and sometimes you're at the bottom. Horween's at the bottom right now. They're on average 46 days late with their deliveries. I'm going out there in a couple of weeks to have a nice conversation about, how can we improve that? Because it has all of these downstream effects like this, where essentially we can't really tell people that all the orders from January 2nd are, going in right now when half the customers are waiting on leathers from Horween, and they get upset because they feel like they're being leapfrogged, and they call in. Because people basically don't check. Some people do not check the material delay section as well as the lead time section, and so it's hopefully temporary. So we just placed more backup orders. So we're kind of like facing this new reality where you have to just deal with these delays. And so we've basically got a lot more leather on order. And this reminds me of some past times, like COVID especially. And knowing Horween, they will probably take all these orders and then ship them all at once.
Yep.
And we will have no idea where to put all this stuff. But, we got to have leather to make boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the process. So, I mean, it's for a more in-depth discussion, so Rebecca and her team, essentially, we have a report, and they filter by the different leather types, and they essentially kind of prioritize them based on both what's available to make things with, and also, of course, when the order was placed. You may ask, well, why do you sell leathers you don't have, in the building? Which is a fair question. But it's kind of part of our model. And so the fact that we do have a little bit of a cushion before, from order placement to shipment date gives us a lot more flexibility on basically all the leather options that we can offer. I believe we probably have the most out of anyone.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
And part of that is because we do have a relatively complicated system that I actually generally works okay, where we can schedule things. And so not having to maintain a massive amount of leather inventory to do that is kind of key to that. So we can sell something, we time it, we get it in, and then we make it. And that lets us just offer a lot more options versus having to consolidate down to 5, 6, 7 leathers. And yeah, we always have them, but, people aren't always able to get what they want. So it is definitely a trade-off, but it does enable more choice, more options, the ability to be paralyzed by your choice. So, that's what we're going for here, is just try and make it complicated. I'm kidding. But that is kind of part of our model. So, all those different leathers, we can't really have them all at the same time.
Yeah.
It just costs too much money. So we
Well,
staggered them. And there's not enough
sheer
space.
space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not enough space. But we are trying to get all of our core leathers in at once so we can really refresh and have a really compelling kind of quick ship offering. And
Yeah.
so
And that's also why we've changed the quick ship offerings currently, because we don't want a huge backlog of quick ship orders in 64 brown that are waiting on leather that we may not hit the quick ship lead time for, but then we'll also delay future orders when we get it in and have to rush through a backlog.
Yeah, I mean, because the delays really create this whipsaw effect where we are unexpectedly out of one leather, and so in order to keep the factory running, we have to go to another leather, and then we totally crush that leather, that's gone, right? And so then it whipsaws back and forth, and so then you're okay, shoot, we need to get this leather ordered earlier than we expected because we were not expecting to not have this other leather that forced us to run through the entire inventory. And so it's just something that's happening right now, frankly, because of the delays. And so
which is another reason we got rid of the what's going into production section. I felt like it was misleading customers, because if it says standard orders from February are going through production right now, then a new buyer is oh, sweet, it's only 2 months for a standard order. But then we get a leather in and it jumps back to November.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully we can have all these leathers in here in about 1 to 2 months, I would say, and almost do a little reset on this and kind of have a more straightforward estimate of when things will come through. Because, I mean, frankly, right now, everything equal, lead time's about 3 months. But because we have some of these delays and some people can take a lot longer, some people can be a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So obviously we want to get a little more uniform. Which is why I'm going out there to kind of get everybody on the same page. Yeah. Kelsey, what do you think about our lead times?
I mean, they don't come up in my daily work too often. But I do, just the sheer size of our catalog, the different kinds of boots, the different leathers, there's a lot of moving parts. And it's a fairly complicated, process to get really nailed down. So
Yeah, which I guess is the other thing we didn't even touch on. What kind of boot you ordered sometimes impacts your lead time. So pull-ons, We're limited to how many we can put into production at a time. So lead times on those are probably a little bit longer than lace-ups.
Yeah, so pull-ons and Western boots, there's only our more experienced sewers can make them. And so that also kind of is a constraint on like how many can go through and be put in on a given day. Repairs are kind of the same deal. Not that only the most skilled people can work on them, but they can only represent a certain percentage of our production, just for us to literally cover the costs of the business. You know, we have to make a certain amount of like full-priced boots in order to like make some money.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things to balance. But yeah, so you know, we're trying to cross-train more people and get effectively a little more bandwidth on some of those harder to make styles. And you know, I think we're making some progress there.
Yeah, and I'm optimistic that long term we'd be able to bring back specific dates going into production. I would hope in the next couple months as we kind of level load our leather inventory.
Yep. Yeah, so it is on the roadmap to get that back, but for now we just don't feel like we can be like honest with you, you know, like honestly. So we've kind of pulled back on that, but you know, I think improvement is on the horizon. Absolutely. Any other nuances of the lead time game we'd like to cover?
I mean, I would say Quick Ship has remained pretty on track.
Yeah.
I actually can't remember the last time we were over our estimated lead times on Quick Ship.
Yeah, we've done a good job with Quick Ship, I feel like. And that's good. I would just like to get more offerings up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like
I mean, the
people.
SKU issue sometimes causes a problem for individual orders. That's not quite as wide scale. But
So
like
so we basically have like a letter codes for leather. So, you know, identifiers, and we have some legacy SKUs that were created before we came up with this system, and so they're harder to like track basically and you're just like, well, why don't you change the SKU? The SKUs are tied to bills of materials in the past, and so when you change the SKU, it breaks that connection, both for old orders, which wouldn't be that big of a deal, and also for current ones.
And we also can't ship them.
And then they can't be shipped. Yeah. So I know, right? You're like, you guys are stupid. And that may well be true. But I feel like when people complain or, you know, they remark on like the opacity of our lead times page, I'm like, oh man, it's so much better than it used to be. Like we used to, I mean,
Well,
I know
one, it
that's
used
not
to
an
not
excuse.
exist.
I know it used to not exist. The leather ordering was basically like, oh crap, we're out of this. We need to order it. And now we are actually like getting ahead of it. We're just kind of at the mercy of some of these lead times right now. So I'm sorry about that. Thanks for letting us work through that. We're getting better. We have gotten better, and we will continue to get better. And you know, hopefully have a much more straightforward understanding of when these boots will arrive when you order them. It's probably faster than you think, though.
Yeah.
What are some common questions or comments that you see, Kelsey?
Oh, I just get comments all the time where people are like, yeah, they're cool boots, but it'll take you 18 months to get. I think that's an outlier experience.
Yeah,
Quite a few boots you can get fairly quickly.
Yeah. We shot ourselves in the foot with the Palouse. That took a really long time. That's pretty normal now. We have that, like, we are meeting those lead times.
And actually, I think they're going to start getting faster.
Yep. So we're buying some machinery, some more cross training, but we're hitting those promise dates. But yeah, you know, you can't wash away the stain sometimes. It sticks with you. Do you like beads?
Yeah.
No.
Do you ever make your own beads?
My dad pickles beets, so I just take his.
I see. But you get that beet juice on your fingers, and man, that sticks around. It's kind of like the Palouse.
18 months, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, Palouse and the Brandle.
On the flip side, though, we also have orders that have been open for years, pending customer approval. And we contact this person or people every month.
It's
asking if we could please start their order.
It's like a relationship, you know. I think some people just like to get that call every month and shoot the breeze. So
then they can say,
you know?
I waited 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. These boots took 5 years. So that actually happens a decent amount. So people are just indecisive, or I don't know. Yeah. Like we do our unclaimed property audit. Mm-hmm. We only have one that's older than 3 years that we have not been able to get a hold of. So we do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Keep track of it. Yeah. So we're trying, guys. I appreciate it. Lead times, I don't want them to go to zero, but I think we'd actually be in a really good place right now if we had everything.
Yeah.
Like from a just like, when can you expect it? I think it'd probably be like 10 to 16 weeks or something like that for everything. But yeah, we're working on it. We're getting better. We've got a big order out there. Hopefully Horween can get that to us. I'll go talk to him, go talk to Skip, John, and Nick and their production management. It'll be a fun time.
About a shipment.
Yeah, they are starting to clear out some stuff. So that's been fun. Ivan's like, "What do we put this stuff?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
don't care. Put it in the showroom. Like, we have to go back to getting a shipping container or something. Yeah. So I don't know, guys. Sorry for like if you've gotten some runaround with the lead times, it's not on purpose. It's something we're working to correct. I think we are getting to be in a very good spot with that. Once we get these Horween leathers in, we should be all good. Seidel's doing a good job right now. And then Horween can, maybe they can get to the middle of the wheel. I would like to see that. Maybe it'll become like a half moon and there's no bottom of the wheel and everybody's above the axle, someday. All right. Well, for Shuyler, Rebecca, Kelsey, thank you for joining us today. Love talking lead times. One of my favorite things. But anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for being a customer. Thanks for thinking of being a customer. Thanks for listening to us talk about boots. We'll talk to you later. Bye.